training Boston-based Vietnamese floor finishers for 2 years in how to use water-based products. Many solvent-based products produce high levels of volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, that can cause health problems when people breathe them in. Certain solvent-based products, such as lacquer sealers, have started fires that have killed and severely injured workers and burned dozens of houses in the Boston area alone. In this video, you'll learn step-by-step how to apply safer floor finishes that will be better for your health and your business. It's a much shorter process than using oil-based products. The best part is that with no odors and a quick drying time, your customers will be very happy with your work. You'll be able to market your business as safer and healthier, something that consumers are now demanding. Lacquer sealers are highly flammable. Something as minor as a pilot light on a boiler or a spark from an electrical outlet could ignite the vapors and cause a fire. That's what happened in Somerville in 2004, where one Vietnamese worker died and 2 others were severely burned. Stained rags also cause fires. Oils and solvent products generate a great deal of heat on rags when drying. Be sure that you temporarily store rags in a bucket of water and air dry them on a fire-resistant surface. Most oil-based products produce damaging vapors, volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, that affect short and long-term health. In the short term, breathing VOCs can cause headaches, dizziness, and nausea. In the long term, workers can have kidney damage and problems with coordination and concentration. It's really important not to use lacquer sealers. Use low VOC oil finishes or water-based products. Read labels and look for VOC content levels below 350 grams per liter. Ask your distributor for material safety data sheets for the products that you purchase. Make sure that the flash point is above 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
I switched from laquer sealer to water-based because it's helping me, myself, my employee, my company, and everybody to get safe, and not a lot of hot fire in the area. And also, just be safe is the more important.
One of the reasons why I switched over to water-based finishes as a wood flooring contractor, aside from the obvious health benefits to myself and my crew, was the ease of application of these products as well as the durability or the quality of the job that I was delivering to my customer. My customer also liked the experience because of the fact that there were low odors in the home and they were able to get to those rooms relatively quickly. This led to many of these homeowners referring me to their friends and families because it turned out to be a positive experience. So based on my knowledge of this market, this was the way to go, and it's why I chose to use water-based finishes.
Well, I think if you look at the expense of doing business, you have 3 basic costs. You have the cost of your equipment, then you have the cost of labor, then you have the cost of materials. The cost of equipment is pretty well fixed. The only 2 adjustments you can make is the cost of labor and the cost of materials, being the polyurethanes and things like that. By using water-based, you can actually save 20 to 30% on the cost of labor. If you take 1,000 square feet and you use oil-based, it's typically going to take you 2 to 3 days, okay? If you're using water-based stain and finish, you can typically cut that down to 1 day if you're doing 1,000 square feet. You've saved 2 days of labor, you've saved extensive sanding and finishing and dust collection and things like that. So the bottom line is that while you may pay a little bit more for the materials, the labor savings way offsets that.
Hi, I'm Dave Darsh with Bonachemi. You're watching this video today, no doubt, to learn techniques for putting water-based finish down. Some contractors in the past have had difficulty using water-based finishes, but we're going to show you some very simple techniques to demonstrate how you'll be able to do a quality floor finishing job. We'll also talk about some of the different aspects of floor finishing that obviously result in fine quality work. So whether we're using solvent-based products or water-based finishes, the sanding techniques are going to be the same. If you'll notice, these pieces of equipment here have dustless technology, but they can also incorporate using a bag if you do not have that at the present time. Our goal between using these machines is to create a flat floor that our finish will then go on top of. So then after we've sanded the floor, the next process for us to do is to vacuum it. I know that sounds very simple, but think about all the hard work you've put into sanding the floor, and this is really going to determine whether we're going to get a fine result finishing the floor. A lot of times after vacuuming the floor, we think that we're ready to coat, but I'd like you to notice the back of this pad, which is quite clean at the present time. Now I've vacuumed once again, but as I start to tack the floor that I have vacuumed, I start picking up the fine particles that the vacuum cleaner was not able to lift off of the floor. You'll notice that there's quite a bit of debris on the bottom of this pad. Think about all the time I've spent sanding this floor, and this is what would have been in my finish had I coated without tacking. Every manufacturer has different directions for using their products, so it's always a good idea to check the back of the label and find out, first of all, how the manufacturer wants you to mix the product, whether they want you to stir the contents slowly or perhaps to shake it vigorously. While you're doing that, the other thing is to find out exactly what kind of coverage the manufacturer wants you to use of their products, because coverage rates will vary. Regardless of the finish that you use, I always like to include an additional strainer in my finish, which leads to a quality job. Since I've taken so much time to vacuum and tack the floor, I always like to keep walk-off mats in the areas prior to walking onto the floor. So as I'm getting ready to coat, you noticed earlier the applicator that I plan on using, but I also wanted to show you another type of applicator that many contractors use for applying water-based finish, and that's a roller. Over in Europe, this is how they put their water-based finish down. But since in the States most people use the snowplow technique, we'll be demonstrating that. I've been working with water-based finish for about 20 years, and the technique that we're going to use here is we're going to pour our line of finish on our work area, establishing a nice puddle to work with. And even though it's water-based finish, it's not drying too quickly on me. I'm going to take my cutting pad and start taking the urethane and cutting in against the fixed objects. Down here on the end as well. And then once I do that, I take my snowplow applicator and literally, like the word snowplow, I am just going to pull my finish. And if you'll notice, I'm keeping a wet working edge so that I get to uniformly and consistently cut the floor. Now, wherever I turn my applicator and I'm going across the grain of the wood, all I want to do is squeeze out the excess urethane, come back to it, straighten it out, and then continue my snowplow. I'm going to do the same thing down here at this end. I'm going to cut in wherever I've gone across the grain, squeeze out the excess finish, straighten it out, and then continue pulling the finish. Once you do a couple of rooms, the technique becomes second nature, and you'll find that working with water-based finish can be a very quick, affordable, and profitable way of doing business. One of the complaints that many contractors have had is that water-based floors are not dark enough. But if you look at these floor panels here, this side here has been coated with oil, this side here has been coated with water. The technology of water-based finish is getting darker so that it now can look like an oil-based finish. When people think of water-based finish, many times they think of a product that's only been around for a few years, but water-based finishes have been available for almost 30 years, and over that period of time, the technology has certainly gotten better. A couple of the things that I like about using water-based finish is the low odor, the lack of flash point. In other words, it's very, very safe to use. And it also dries very, very quickly so that I can get back on top of it and then put another coat right down. Another thing is that with these water-based finishes, certainly it allows the natural beauty of the wood to come through. And as far as technique is concerned, like anything else, you do it a few times, you'll master those techniques, and certainly will deliver a fine quality job.
By learning how to apply water-based products, you can promote your business as safer and healthier. You'll be healthier and your customers will be happier.